They didn't recognize him when he walked in. To them, he was just another old man, slightly hunched, wearing a faded jacket that had seen better days. His boots were clean but worn, the kind that had walked long distances and carried heavy weight. He held the graduation invitation carefully in his hand, as if it were something fragile. This day mattered to him more than anyone in that crowded auditorium could possibly understand. It was his son's graduation. The son he had missed birthdays for, the son he had watched grow up through photographs and shaky video calls, the son he had once kissed on the forehead before boarding a transport plane, not knowing if he would ever come back. He took a step forward toward the entrance, and that's when the problem started. A staff member stopped him with a raised hand and a tight expression. "Sir, this section is reserved. You'll need to move." The veteran looked around, confused. "I have a ticket," he said calmly, holding it out. The staff member barely glanced at it. "Dress code," he said flatly. "This is a formal ceremony." The veteran looked down at himself. His jacket wasn't fancy, no suit, no polished shoes, just the clothes he owned, the clothes he felt comfortable in. "I'm here for my son," he said quietly. Behind them, people in suits and dresses were filing in. Some glanced over, a few frowned. One whispered something to another and shook her head. The staff member's tone sharpened. "Sir, you're holding up the line. Please step aside." The veteran hesitated. His jaw tightened, not in anger, but in something far deeper, something like memory. He had stood in far worse lines than this. He had waited under skies lit by tracer fire. He had followed orders without question for decades. But this was different. "This is important," he said. "I won't cause trouble. I just want to sit and watch my boy graduate." The staff member sighed, annoyed now. "Sir, if you don't leave, I'll have security escort you out." The word escort echoed strangely in the veteran's mind. He slowly lowered his hand. "All right," he said. He turned to walk away. And that should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. As he took a few steps toward the exit, a voice came from behind him, loud, clear, unmistakable. "Sir, wait." The room shifted. People turned. The veteran stopped and turned around. From the middle rows, a man stood up. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a simple suit that couldn't hide the posture of someone trained to stand straight under pressure. Then another man stood, then another, then another. One by one, men and women rose from their seats across the auditorium. There was no announcement, no signal, just recognition, the kind that doesn't need words. The first man spoke again. "You're not leaving." The staff member looked around, confused. "Excuse me?" Another voice joined in. "That man stays." A woman stood near the aisle, her voice steady but sharp. "He's not going anywhere." Whispers spread through the crowd. What's going on? Who are they? Why are they standing? The veteran felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. One of the standing men stepped into the aisle. He reached into his jacket, not fast, not dramatic, and pulled out a small pin. He held it up between his fingers. A golden trident. Another followed, then another. SEAL insignia. Quiet, unmistakable. The room went silent. The staff member swallowed. A man near the back spoke, his voice calm but carrying. "That man you tried to remove? He's one of ours." The veteran shook his head slightly. "You don't have to." "Yes," another SEAL interrupted gently. "We do." More stood now, not just SEALs, Rangers, Marines, veterans of different units, different wars, different eras, all standing for one man, all standing without being asked. A senior SEAL near the front turned toward the crowd. "Some of us are here today because men like him made sure we could be." They kicked the veteran out of his son's graduation. Then a SEAL team stood up in the crowd. The staff member's face drained of color. I didn't know." "That," the SEAL replied, "is the problem." The veteran felt his eyes sting. He never expected recognition. That was never why he served. He served because it was necessary, because someone had to go, because duty doesn't wait for comfort.
The SEAL closest to him stepped forward and extended a hand. "Sir, please take my seat." The veteran hesitated. "No, son, I couldn't." The SEAL smiled slightly. "You already did, a long time ago." The applause started slowly. Then it grew, not the polite kind, the kind that comes from the chest. People stood, civilians, families, graduates, professors. The entire auditorium rose. The staff member stepped back, completely forgotten. The veteran was guided to a seat in the front row. As he sat down, his hands trembled, not from weakness, but from something heavier than strength: pride. When the ceremony began, the graduates marched in, and when his son walked across the stage, scanning the crowd nervously, his eyes found him. Front row, standing with him, dozens of quiet professionals, hands clasped, eyes forward. His son froze for half a second. Then he smiled. A real smile, the kind he hadn't worn since childhood. After the ceremony, his son ran to him and wrapped him in a hug so tight it stole the breath from both of them. "I thought you weren't coming," his son whispered. "I wouldn't miss this," the veteran replied. Behind them, the SEALs quietly slipped out. No photos, no speeches, no credit. That was never the point. Because respect isn't demanded, it's recognized. And sometimes, when the world forgets who its heroes are, the quiet professionals stand up and remind everyone. If this story moved you, subscribe to SEAL Stories Motivational, because courage doesn't always wear a uniform. Sometimes it wears an old jacket and sits quietly in the crowd.